Who is the greatest point guard of all time? Magic Johnson or Stephen Curry? This is a new debate for whatever reason. It came out of nowhere. In this video, I'm going to give my opinion on who I think is the greatest point guard of all time. Before we get to that, if you guys want to help out the channel, please hit that like button. It helps out a lot, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions. If you guys are new and haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. It is extremely hard to compare Magic Johnson and Stephen Curry together. Number one, they played in two completely different eras. Magic Johnson was coming into the 80s. Stephen Curry was coming in around 2010. They have two different body styles. Magic Johnson is 6'8", 6'9", over 215 pounds. Stephen Curry is 6'2", 6'3", around 185 pounds. They have two different play styles. Magic Johnson is a playmaker, a pass-first guard, a four-time league assist leader, while Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He's a two-time NBA league scoring leader and has hit the most threes in NBA history. Both of these players have changed the game. Magic Johnson came into an era that was dominated by big men, and he was drafted to a team with one of the greatest big men of all time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The pace of the game in the early 80s was really slow, and it was primarily a postman's game. But Magic Johnson came in and perfected the fast break, which gave the nickname to the Lakers the Showtime Lakers. Magic Johnson was an innovator for the league. He was the first player to ever get $1 million contract, a lifetime contract. He changed the way NBA players will get paid forever. Stephen Curry came into a league that was being dominated in the mid-range area. Stephen Curry's dominance from the three-point line changed the way the game is played today. The league now bases everything on percentages and by the numbers. A three is more than two. You take the three. That is because of Stephen Curry. The reason I really dislike debates like this is because oftentimes they are being used to discredit one of the players. And in this case, neither of these players should be discredited. But as I promised, I'm going to give you guys my opinion. So let's start off with accolades. First, we'll look at Finals MVP. And these are two very different instances when it comes to this award. It took Stephen Curry his entire career up to this point to finally win a Finals MVP against the Boston Celtics in 2021-2022. While it only took Magic Johnson 90 plus games to win his first Finals MVP. Magic Johnson is the only player in NBA history to win a Finals MVP his rookie season. And this was on a team with one of the greatest centers of all time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Magic Johnson has won Finals MVP 3 different times. His rookie season, the season following his knee surgery in 1986-87. But does this even really mean anything? Finals MVP is an award that I don't really like to use in arguments. So let's just skip over this. Let's talk about season MVPs. Magic Johnson has 3 season MVPs, 1986-87, 88-89, 89-90. Stephen Curry has 2 season MVPs, 2014-15 and 15-16. But Stephen Curry has the most valuable MVP in NBA history. Stephen Curry has the first and only unanimous MVP, never been done before in the league. But does MVP really matter? Who votes on the MVP? Let's talk about it. Is it just the mainstream media? The people who are starting this debate in the first place? Look at Stephen A. Smith. He's really promoting this debate, even getting Michael Jordan involved, saying Michael Jordan texted him and saying Magic Johnson is better. So I don't care about MVPs. Let's talk about scoring leaders. Stephen Curry is a 2-time league scorer, 2015-16 and 2020-21. Magic Johnson has never been a scoring leader. Stephen Curry is a better scorer than Magic Johnson. Is this good when comparing who's the greatest point guard of all time? Some might say scoring doesn't matter. You're supposed to be a point guard. But the eras have changed. In the 1980s, the point guard position was not what it is today. Point guards didn't really score back in the day. Their primary responsibility was to run the offense, control the pace, and get your teammates involved. In today's NBA, that has changed. Magic Johnson was a pure floor general. We look at today's game, and there's not any players that come to the top of my head that I could think of that are pure floor generals. Maybe the one that I could think of is Chris Paul. but he's coming towards the end of his career. He's almost 40 years old. The floor general is kind of dying out in today's era, and that might be because of Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry changed the way that point guards play. Point guards now score a lot more. In order to be one of the best point guards in the league now, you need to be averaging over 20 points a game. Something Magic Johnson didn't do until his 8th season in the league, where he averaged 24 points a game. But wait, can we really compare eras? Let's go back to the 80s. Like I was saying back then, a point guard was a floor general. He was just supposed to play make, get his assists. He was supposed to pass the ball into the low post, control the pace of the offense. But throughout his career, Magic Johnson averaged 19.5 points a game as a point guard in the 80s. That is incredible. That would be nice in today's NBA. And even if you say that's not even a lot, he did that on averaging 11.2 assists throughout his career. And that takes us to the next debate. Assist leader. Magic Johnson is a 4-time NBA assist leader. 1982-83, 83-84, 85-86, 86-87. 4 consecutive years. Not only that, in those years, he was averaging 10.5 assists, 13.1 assists, 12.6 assists, and 12.6 assists. And even the following year, he was averaging 12.2 assists per game. Throughout Magic Johnson's career, he's always been one of the greatest playmakers of all time. And if we're looking purely at assist numbers to debate the point guard position, Magic Johnson dominates in this category. Stephen Curry has never won a league assist title. Throughout his career, he's only averaged 6.5 assists. But then again, this is a different game of basketball. Point guards don't need to be a playmaker in order to be one of the best point guards in the league, which is a reason why I don't like comparing eras, because you can't. So we determined so far that Stephen Curry is a better scorer than Magic Johnson. He averaged about 4.6 more points a game in his career than Magic Johnson. But this was also done about 35 years after Magic Johnson played. The game has changed a lot. So is 5 points really that much more? Magic Johnson wins in the assist category, averaging 11.2 assists per game in his career, while Stephen Curry averaged 6.5, almost doubling Stephen Curry's amounts. But this was also in an era where point guards were yelled at and taken out of the game if they weren't a pass first guard. So can we really compare this either? Then we look at the defensive end and the rebounding end. Magic Johnson is a 2-time steals leader in his career. Stephen Curry is a 1-time steals leader. Both these players can get steals. Magic Johnson has a much bigger frame than Stephen Curry, so it might be harder for Stephen Curry to get steals. So maybe this shows that Stephen Curry is an underrated defender. But is the steals stat really that valuable? This is the reason why I don't really like comparing players. I don't even like comparing stats, because stats don't tell the full story. I like to look at a player's career, not just from a statistical standpoint, not just from team success, not just from accolades and awards. I like to look at a player's play style and the fit that they have on a team. The reason Magic Johnson was so successful was because he was drafted in the perfect situation for him. The reason Stephen Curry was so successful was because he was drafted in the perfect situation for him. There's always going to be what ifs. What if Magic Johnson played in today's era? Would he be as effective? What if Stephen Curry played in the 80s? Would he be as effective? But they're all just hypotheticals. So basically this entire debate doesn't matter. It's just an opinion. So that takes me to this point. What is my opinion? Who do I think the greatest point guard of all time is? Stephen Curry is listed as a point guard, and a lot of people might say he's a shooting guard, but I think he just plays in an era that is positionalist. Back in the day, they didn't have that. But that being said, let me not dodge my answer. When I am choosing a point guard, I look at a lot of things. I look at the team around him. I look at what team I'm trying to build. I'm looking at the play style and the role that I need from my point guard. So my answer depends entirely on the team or the idea of my team that I have in play. But personally, when I think of the point guard position, I think of Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's ability to pass the ball. Magic Johnson's ability to give confidence to his teammates. Magic Johnson's ability to lead his team. Magic Johnson's ability to keep everybody happy. Magic Johnson's personality, to me, is what I want from a point guard. So if I had to say who is the greatest point guard of all time, I would say Magic Johnson. But that being said, when I look at Stephen Curry, I don't really see a point guard. Stephen Curry can play make. He is a very underrated passer. He knows how to read a defense. But Stephen Curry doesn't need to do all that. which is why his assist numbers are not as high as Magic Johnson. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He's also one of the greatest scorers of all time. Despite what his points per game say on his career averages, Stephen Curry is a top 5 scorer of all time, in my opinion. So me saying the greatest point guard of all time is Magic Johnson is not taking anything away from Stephen Curry. I still think Stephen Curry is a top 10 player in NBA history, and if he wins another championship, I think he could be top 5 player in NBA history. But what does that even mean? What is top 10 player, top 5 player? Do these debates really even mean anything? Because it's not facts. It's just opinion, which is why I don't like the GOAT debate either. When I was younger, I used to get so caught up in this GOAT debate. I used to always argue for Kobe Bryant because in my opinion, Kobe Bryant is the greatest player of all time. But then it got to a point where people are just looking at stats and then discrediting a player because of the stats that they have. In basketball, it's not just purely stats, which is why I never look too deep into advanced analytics and stats. Another argument is, will we see the next Steph Curry before we see the next Magic Johnson? And this is also a fun little debate to have, but I think some people take it too serious because there's no way to know. Either one can happen, either one can't happen. When we compare players together, what we are doing is discrediting one other player, unless it's two different spectrums. For example, Stephen Curry compared to Derek Fisher. But Stephen Curry and Magic Johnson are on the same level playing field. They are on the same level of the pyramid. But that being said, when I am asked the question, who is the greatest point guard of all time, the first thing that pops into my head is Magic Johnson. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on this entire debate down below in the comments. Do you agree with what I said or disagree? Let your voice be heard. If you guys enjoyed this video or didn't enjoy this video, hit the like button or dislike button. It don't matter, just hit some. And if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more videos. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is ZTAY. Peace.